ご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for Tamako Mercado episode 10. Last week's episode focused around a literal parting of ways and a more figurative reunion of souls, as Anko dealt with Yuzuki's impending departure, all occurring on Mochi Day, and we finally discovered what that song Tamako has been humming the wrong tune to for this entire time. Turns out it's a song written by Mamedai, her father, for Hinako, her mother. And that's what I mean by a figurative reunion of souls. It's a little touch of mom back in the story, and a little hint of family. Actually, quite a bit more than a hint. There was all the grandfather stuff being a good lookout, and dad being a goober, and Anko being all sad but then being all happy. It was a really fun episode. It was super great. But everything of that episode is in the past, and now we have the future. What is the future? I don't know, but the episode title was something like "A Flower Blooms on Her Baton," so I'm assuming that that's probably Midori, because she's now the, partial captain of the baton twirling people thing. But maybe we'll just, focus on the baton twirling aspect of things, because it's just sort of been there, and we've never looked at it. I don't know. It feels like the kind of thing that we could turn into the eventual finale thing. It feels like a KyoAni finale situation where having the baton twirling competition or whatever comes later on in the thing and is the thing that we're all happy about by the end of things, and it's like, yay! But I don't really know. It could all just happen and then be over this episode, or not at all, or it could just be about, Midori realizing, wrestling with her feelings toward Tamako, which, again, we haven't addressed since we last addressed it, which was quite a while ago. So there are a lot of options here, just from the title, for ways that this episode could go. But really, we're here for cute girls to do baton twirling and hopefully Kana goodness, and then I'm happy. And that's really all that I need. If we want to do anything along the lines of princess, the prince is seeking his bride sort of situation, maybe we'll do something about that and start hinting in that direction. But I don't really know if we're ever gonna resolve any of that stuff. I don't really think it matters, so we'll see. I'm just excited to watch another episode of Tamako Mercado and see what comes at us, because I fucking love these characters, and I love the town that they live in, and I love the entire flow and feel and vibe and experience of this show, and I like just being able to sink into it. So let's do that. Let us relax into an episode of Tamako Market. I've got episode 10, A Flower Blooms on Her Baton, up and ready to go. It is sitting at 0 seconds. There will be 2 versions of this reaction. You can find a picture-in-picture version with the video up there, linked in the description, and a timer-based version up on YouTube. If you want to do a syncy thing, sync up your own copy, you can do that. Just get your copy ready, because the beep beep timer to count you down will be coming at you now. Looks like about to say a cultural festival. Huh. Yeah, this isn't even about that. What is this? Oh, little rabbits? Okay. What is Mochizo's club again? Kung Foolish? Oh my god, that's amazing. That's amazing. Alright. Probably not. Do we want early, or do we want late, or what? Is that the prime spot? I guess that's the prime spot. Okay. Happily. Alright, so we're doing a culture fest. Hey, I mean, New Year's festivals, culture festivals, KyoAni nails them always. The Hyoka Culture Fest is such a good little arc. Ah. Mmm. Got a choreograph? Okay. Who is that character? Who who dat? Oh. Oh. Kinda like the OP? There's a little like the OP. Super into it. Okay. Really wants to do aerial. Oh. Sure. Cocky. Yes. Gotta love a good box of cocky. Sorry. So, we're gonna do a routine based around... I'm gonna do a mochi-based baton program? I mean, that sounds like finale material to me. Indeed, Shiori, indeed. 10 minutes of performance is not a small thing to choreograph. Jesus. Oh my god. Yamada, stop it. Yamada, stop it. We have to go back to that scene at some point. Ah. Daijoubu. Oh, well then. That explains things. Hmm. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Costumes? Ah? Hmm. Sick boy. Oh, he fell into the fountain. Uh, how are you planning to... Oh, okay. Yeah, me too. That was scary. Hmm. of you. Yeah, I noticed there were a lot of Tamako pictures in that whole setup. We'll see. 5 to 10 minutes of choreography is no small... Oh, we struggling? We struggle to figure stuff out now? Yeah. What do you do? This is pretty cute. Oh no. Very reminiscent of the K-On! Like procrastination sequences. Nope. Just... Oh, that's slowly taking shape over the course of the episode. Whoa. That's the Hibike, isn't it? It's pretty close. Well, they do now. Oh no. This is like business meeting material. Ooh. Just gonna write fuck for the timestamp on that one. Ah. How useful. It's nothing to be embarrassed about at all. You don't find it gross and weird? Yeah, it's soothing and repetitive. Simple tasks. Damn, there's a lot in this episode already. Sure. Depending on interpretation. Choi, the sewing machine. Always. Oh. What do you smell? She just fuzzed out. What kind of perfume do you wear? You have really bad body odor. Like, what is it even? What does she smell like? Hmm. Hmm. Hey. God. Reminds me so much of working in a startup. We'll have to talk about that. All of the Midori trying to figure shit out sequences are just so fun, character animation wise. Oh, Pokemon cards. Oh, go to grandfather. Inspiration, eh? Why would I want that? Wand, eh? Damn, high passive insight there. Oh, ara? That's not how you make ideas happen. Why don't you go in there, chill, and listen to music? I really wonder what that song is. I really can't tell. Hi. Parallels between that and choreography incoming. Yes, a wise statement. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay, I see what we're doing here. Did you want to direct this one herself? Because this is a lot. Hmm. Hmm. Match cut. Huh. Splee. Amazing. Amazing. Ooh. Shades of Shiori episode. Definite Shades of Shiori episode. Oh, hi, Shiori. Your turn, eh? Nice. Totally inconspicuous. Is she gonna get sick? From stressing out so much? Ooh, having all that faith in somebody can backfire. Hey. She says, holding Mochi. Ha ha ha. Hey? Hey. Bringing it back around, eh? Just stopped by to tell you something important. Aw, she's just hikiing up some plans, eh? Time to go deliver some good stuff. Go deliver goodies. Okay, she really did get sick. I'm sure. Hey. Oh wow, she's going hard on magazines and you can't. You can't. You can't. The important thing is to apologize. The important thing is to apologize. Wow. Oh, fuck. No. Not the dark side. Mm-hmm. It's hiding behind guilt. Oh, Kana's finding something. Ha 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 ha. Honto ni. Yeah, real talk time. Yeah. Plenty of. Well, dude, it's okay. You're working really hard. Why do we have amber lamp sounds? Oh. Okay, there we go. Haha. Except you've got all these ideas and research going. Was it, though? Oh. Incoming wholesomeness. Incoming, like, tidal wave of wholesomeness. Oh. Hmm. Mm. Mm. It's easy. Incoming. Hop, 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 hop. Hop, 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 hop. Mmm. Ooh. Yeah, he is God. Nope, just let it out. Let it out, Shiori. Oh, he get a lot of hits. Because you're a goofy dancing bird. And that was exactly what was needed in the moment. Yeah. Pow. Oh. Hey, it took shape. Hmm. All right, we've got a little bit of. Oh, it's the cultural festival. It's just happening now. Good. Great. Cool. Oh, Choi's here. Fuck. The, like, pauldrons minus sleeves together is the best thing I've ever seen. Nani? The sign of what? Huh. The sign of what she's looking for. Do we get to see it? Tell me we get to see it. Hey, we get to see parts of it. Hey. Wow. Aww. Nice. Indeed. Aww. Yo. That's glorious. Hi, Joy. Pow. What? We just got a Sama. Nani? Hey? Oh, okay. I love the shit out of this episode. Jesus, did Yamada direct this one solo? Feels like it's a possibility. I'm gonna start looking up staff stuff. I never thought that girl would be a princess. Cool. I love the shit out of this episode. I pulled up the ANN page, but I haven't looked at it yet. I'm really curious as to who did the storyboard and episode direction on this one, and I wouldn't be surprised to find that this was Yamada solo doing this on her own, because there's a lot of her, like, Hallmark style mixed and mishmashed up into this episode, so I'm really intrigued by that. Let's take a look at the ANN page before we go any further and just find out who did the storyboarding and direction. Okay, episode written by Michiko Yokote, who did 6, 8, 10. And storyboard, Taichi Ogawa. Episode director, Taichi Ogawa, which is an extremely familiar name that I can't place for some reason, but I know that it's because he's directed, like, something, a lot of something. It's that he pops up as storyboard and episode direction on really solid episodes of everything that KyoAni has done. Like episode 10 of Violet Evergarden, storyboard and episode direction, Hibike, episode 14, and then 4 and 11 of Hibike 2. Yeah, lots of stuff like that, where it's like, it's pivotal episodes, really solid episodes. Okay, that makes sense, that it's Taichi Ogawa. Okay. Alright, I can work with that. Now, to talk about this episode as a whole. I've got a lot of timestamps to go through, but I also want to try and, like, outline out this discussion so that I don't meander too much. So give me a minute to try to do that as I skim through the episode. Okay, I also just Googled Kisaragi Tamako just to figure out who the fuck she is, because I forgot, or we haven't known, but I don't remember. I think we knew. She's the former president of the Baton Club, who now Midori is stepping in for as captain, so that makes sense. Got it. Anyway, I'm just going through finding stuff. And writing shit out. What the fuck does that even say? Maybe I can look it up? Don't know. Was it Midori who first walked in on Shiori? In episode 3. Yeah, it was Midori who walked in on Shiori in the same circumstance, so it's a paying it around. Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay, just in terms of listing shit out, I don't know if this is actually going to help me at all. I wrote down, leg stuff, animation stuff, Midori moments, expressive with like multiple underlines, Kana stuff, Dara is the best, off framing, dialogue off camera, mochi photos, Midori's designs, Grandpa's the bestest. Awesome. Wow. Okay. I really like this episode. It just nails emotional context and like a held back struggle in Midori that eventually her friends figure out. Her desire to not appear as weak as the captain is so relatable, but more than that, the way that she so simply gets pulled into this like I haven't actually done it, but I'm making promises that I can't keep situation is very relatable and very interesting. And then all of that really wonderful, really well done, very emotionally intense, I would say, storyline is offset by these beautiful bursts of wonderfully executed humor, visual and gag humor, as well as dialogue-based, really solid comedy. Like there's even humor in this "What about the life of Mochi" situation as she waxes on, and some people are getting really into it, but some people are just like brrr, and getting super bored. But then Shiori's like, "Oh, that sounds so fascinating. That sounds so cool." There's even humor built into that. It's wonderful. This episode flows so well. It just sort of disappeared in front of me. Fantastic. Okay, so the theme is let's not, and we'll give you the choreography. And she is initially very into that idea, very, very for it, and also like I'll also come up with the songs, and also I'll work on designs. This is that moment of excitement at the beginning of a task where you feel like you can do anything, and like you want to take on all these responsibilities because you really don't know how much you're getting into. Oh, it's so right on the money. It's so perfectly on the money. And we're going to step back a little bit in a second, but I want to continue with this because this is a thread that's through the episode is Midori desperately wants to be able to do this, but she hits a writer's block effectively, right? She ends up procrastinating on the thing that she thinks is the most important, the choreography, and she's not wrong. It is incredibly important, but when she gets here, she still has ended up putting a lot of work into these designs, and they end up being the best designs that they have and the ones that they choose, right? So there are multiple layers here. One is Midori's talents don't align with her current responsibilities. She took on the responsibility of choreography, but her talent is obviously this other stuff, and she's excited about it and does it naturally without getting a block to it. So judging her, it's like fish climbing trees, right? You judge a fish based on its ability to climb trees, and you're gonna think a fish sucks. Midori doesn't suck. She's just not able to figure out choreography right now, which frankly is not a terrifyingly or a terribly like difficult thing to make sense of. Choreography's difficult. It's really hard. It's harder to come up with it than it is to learn it, and it's really hard to learn it. I've mentioned this a couple of times, but in college I used to be part of a breakdance crew, I guess you could say. It was a club technically, but it was a crew. And we put on choreographed performances, and like getting 5 or 8 people to nail synchronicity for 3 minutes of performing time when like the steps are even simplified so that everybody of multiple skill levels in the club can still manage that shit. It's really hard, and it takes a lot of time, not only to figure out what the people should do, but to figure out whether they can do it, and then to alter based on that. Like, choreography is fucking difficult. So 5 or 10 minutes of choreography, like, that's 5 or 10 minutes of fucking dancing, fucking putting yourself out there and working. That's not easy. Like, sometimes we see professional backup dancers like on stage performances or whatever, and it's like, oh, they're just dancing, they're just chilling. No, they work fucking hard. They work really hard. It's not easy shit. So I feel it. I feel the difficulty and the stress, and Midori putting herself way, way too far under to actually like dig herself out. And that's exactly what she ends up doing. She starts trying to dig herself out and ends up digging herself deeper because that's how it goes. But then it all cycles around into a beautiful redemption situation where it's all okay. Because at least she ended up being honest and apologizing about it. It's wonderful. Okay, but they choose the designs, and then we get into the shit a little bit. So these designs, they match the choreography that you've already done? Because, you obviously wouldn't work on designs if you weren't already doing real good stuff on the choreography. Oh, shit. Uh-oh. Well, whoops. So what this reminds me of, more than anything, this whole situation is morning stand-ups at a startup. So what a morning stand-up is a stand-up meeting, and it's a form of let's call it efficiency management or whatever. But the basic idea is that everybody in the company, usually for small companies more than anything, if it's a larger company, you break into segments and like teams. But everybody in the company does a stand-up meeting where everyone stands, literally, and that's how it's supposed to be. Everyone stands so that the meeting goes quickly and talks about what they've done like recently, what they're going to be doing today, and that's about it. And like if they need anything from anybody else, right? That way everybody in the crew, everybody in the team knows what everybody else is working on, and they can like offer assistance or ask for assistance or figure things out and make sure they're all working on the same page, and that's great. However, what happens at stand-ups a lot is you go like, oh yeah, yesterday I polished off and I was a programmer, right? So yesterday I polished off like the UI for this thing. Today I'm gonna be working on like the back end for this thing. And then you'll get a question that's like, oh, cool, you finished that UI, so I can plug this thing into it? And it's like, I don't know, but I'm going to say yes because I've got like 2 minutes to talk. Sure, let's talk about it later. And then it ends up being like a week-long project to make this thing that you've been working on actually match with the other thing that the other guy's been working on, which is nominally the reason that you have stand-up meetings in the first place, is to figure out weird incongruities like that. But the other thing that happens pretty often is people overpromise and underdeliver a lot, and I think it's just human nature. I don't think it's necessarily like a bad thing, or I do think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's like a malicious thing that people do, because I do it and I'm not doing it maliciously. I think we just have a tendency to overestimate our own capabilities. And so we'll be like, yeah, I'm going to have this whole segment of the project done by Friday. It'll be toast. We got this, no problem. That's even, I added an extra day of extra time to that estimate. We're good, no worries. Ends up being a 3-week project, right? Like, so that's basically what's going on with Midori, except there's also the writer's block mixing up into it, which happens with programming too. Like, I've had an experience at the startup I was working at, or one of them, where I said, like, I will do this segment of the thing, and I had ideas for how I was going to get it done. And then, like, a day of working on it later, realized that I actually didn't understand the tech that I was working with, like the underlying technology at all. I was working with WebRTC, which is used heavily in like peer-to-peer communication and like Zoom chat and stuff like that. Didn't really understand the tech at all. Really thought that I could do a thing with it. Couldn't do a thing with it, at least the way that I thought I could. But I'd already promised the thing, and there were people relying on that promise. So then you're stuck in this situation where it's either, do you lie and say that you're still working on it? Or do you just say, look, I'm sorry, I didn't understand what I was getting into when I promised this thing. Can I get this more experienced developer to help me with this so that we can figure this shit out myself, like together, and actually get going on it? Super relatable to me, this whole situation of overpromising and then getting stuck and being in this terrible turmoil state where you had the best of intentions when you were promising. You're just like, I can do this, I could do that, I could do this, I'm excited about this project, I will take it all, let me do all of it, this is gonna be my baby, I got this. And then 3 days later you're like, how do I even how do I put the triangle block in the triangle hole? What the fuck? Super relatable. Okay, but that's just one tiny element of this larger plot around Midori. Oh, it's wonderful. Okay, Choi being really good at sewing, and more importantly, finding joy in it, finding peace and relaxation in it, is really interesting, and I love this conversation. I just love the way that this conversation flows because of the characters involved. Tamako immediately gets it. She's like, oh, it's just like how I feel when I'm making mochi. It's a simple task that keeps my hands occupied and that is like rhythmic and I can get into it. And there are lots of tasks like that. And they're wonderful. Lots of people knit or sew or do cross stitch or like make things or draw. Like there are millions of tasks like that. Things that people like to do to occupy their hands. And it's great. But An doesn't get it because she hates mochi making and traditional stuff kind of on principle, right? But her ideas about that aren't terribly well formed, so she doesn't really understand them. She hasn't had the experience of like, oh, this is really calming and like valuable to do, to offset the explanation that she's getting now and her own dislike of these activities. It's like, this is so cool, and it works on so many different like levels. There's the take joy in small things, take pride in your work, and then there's also a layer that's maybe not intentional but that I see in this that's like beyond it's okay to do traditionally things, it's also okay to do feminine things, not because they're feminine but because you like them. I don't know, I feel like that's an important message regardless. Like in our modern time, there's a lot of emphasis on like boys can be softer than they used to be able to be, right? And girls can be harder than they used to be able to be. There's a lot of emphasis on like the more masculine female hero by traditional gender bullshit, yada yada. There's a lot of emphasis on that. And sometimes I think that people go too far with that type of a character. Like I would say that Choi and Tamako are both deeply feminine female characters. A lot of the time, that's not allowed in a like protagonist. You know, a female protagonist has to be more masculine trait wise. I like seeing characters who are totally happy about whatever they like doing, regardless of how the outside world views it. It's appreciated, and I like that stuff. Again, not that that's necessarily intentional, but it's something that appears in the show, and I like it and I appreciate it. Yeah, the rhythmic process and all that stuff. Ooh, and then we cut up to the flower. I didn't even catch that. Yeah. Yeah, that's even more. That's really good. Okay, boasting about accuracy, sure. 98%, sure. And then I still have far, far to go. That's another thing that's really valuable here is everybody's like, "Oh, Choi, you're the best. You're the best seamstress I've ever met. You're so good at this." And she's like, "Yeah, but I mean, I got a lot of work to do. I'm working hard on this." And then there's another layer to that statement, which is the hidden feelings under her whole my destiny is to be the one who makes the gown for the one who's going to be the prince's bride. Because there's that whole layer of like Choi actually wants to be the prince's bride, methinks, and there's some sadness to it, but she's really dedicated to it, and it's really cute. It's really well done layers of character. Super cool. Okay, so more smell stuff, which does not get explained in this episode, but the mole thing does. That's very interesting. So she wants to ask, but she can't. We get a call from Midori. So I think it's actually a little bit before this that we get the first sequence of Midori trying to figure her shit out, and I really love this whole sequence. It's really goofy, and the poses that she's making as she's trying to figure shit out are wonderful. I love it a lot, and just all of the characterization is really solid. All of the like knees and below characterization is even more solid, which is of course why I thought that Yamada would be the one doing a lot on this episode, which she may have. It's hard to tell just from she was the overall director and Taichi Ogawa was the episode director. It's just hard to tell. So we recruit Choi for the thing, which we already saw some of, and then move on to Midori, who is calling, just wondering how things are going on your side. Things are fine over here. No problems at all. Not procrastinating, not having any kind of block. No Midori's. And there is so much good characterization of Midori stressing the fuck out in this episode, just all the way through. It's so good. And then so much Kana figuring it out piece by piece, being the detective Kana, is the tits. It's wonderful. The little bear staring at her is great. The little like dragon flag that she does here. Oh no, that's the sideways one. I forget what you call that. I don't remember. Is just wonderful. And the little like bonk. Perfect. So we go seeking some aid to the magic shop. To grandfather. And there's so much characterization in her sort of aimless wandering. She has something that she wants to talk about, but she doesn't know how to approach it, and doesn't even necessarily really understand her own feelings about it, or what she's dealing with exactly. Like, it's not easy to put this into words. She just feels like she's failing her friends, right? It's not like, oh, I took on too much responsibility and I could probably fix this as long as I go and talk to them as soon as possible. It's, I'm failing my friends and they put their faith in me, and I'm going to fail them and betray them, and they will hate me forever. That's how Midori's feeling right now. It's not super sensible, but that's exactly it. Which of course just compounds, right? When you're stressing about something like that, you're not going to be in the creative mode very easily. You're just not. As someone who tries to be creative and has dealt with a lot of stress, I can tell you from personal experience that there are big downsides to being stressed the fuck out all the time. It's not worth it. Okay, and Grandpa fucking gets it. The most important thing is to apologize. He doesn't know the circumstance. He doesn't know what's going on. All he knows is that his granddaughter is stressed the fuck out, and he immediately, insightfully assumes but knows that something is going on with her friends, that she feels guilty about it, and that the answer is for them to patch things up. He doesn't get too overbearing about it or anything, just the most important thing is to apologize. We didn't fight. No, but you could, and you could forestall a fight by apologizing. I love this moment particularly because she goes from this pose that we saw right here, where she's got her arms out. Indignation is what I would call this pose. She goes from that indignation and it just sort of collapses in 2 stages. Like, she gets a little bit looser about it and then just collapses. So good. So good. Such character. Idea. And then she walks by Mr. Awesome. And then there's the greatest little just turning bright red little smoke cloud. It's perfect. Just perfection. Okay, and then we move into this sequence, which is just wonderful. Something else that I love is that I need to look up his name. Yeah. Is it Kunio? It is. It is Yaobi Kunio. I thought so. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I love that when he says something deep, he sort of nods to himself. Yeah, silence too is a part of music. Like, that's such a character moment, right? It gives him so much more beyond just, I'm a narrative device that's here to give the advice that's necessary for the core characters in their time of need during each episode, right? Just the little nod that he makes tells us that he's thinking these thoughts for himself, and that he's constantly thinking them and constantly refining them and like thinking them through, and nodding it to himself when he like files away a pearl of wisdom. There's so much to that little nod. I love it. I love it. Okay, so music is not just made of notes. Silence is also a part of music. Are you saying not to get worked up? I'm gonna ponder that for a bit. because I'm not entirely sure how it interrelates with the rest of the story. Okay, so obviously Midori misinterprets, right? So you're saying not to get worked up is obviously not what Yabi Kunio is telling her. Silence, too, is a part of music. The one way that I can think of this making sense, and I think it'll be the way that I choose to see it, and I would like very much if anybody has alternate explanations or interpretations of this to let me know, because I don't hold stock in this interpretation necessarily. Like, the pattern of interactions between Tamako and Midori and Shiori and all of the friends is a song, is a melody. Their group's interaction or the song of their performance is something. And right now, the silence that he's talking about is Midori's like inability to express her struggle with her friends, is I think what he's saying. And so he's recommending that she does, but in his own cryptic way. I feel like that's way off, but it's good enough that I'll go with it. Cool. Regardless, what I love to pieces this sequence. I love that sequence so much. How she just sort of slips into it naturally. It's pretty great. I don't know what it is about that sequence. The little cuts in it, the little jolt as it's too hot, the cut to the moment when she's sipping the tea, the bouncing of her feet. Everything about that sequence is primo, and I don't even have the skills to express why. It feels like a moment. I've used that term in a specific way before, um, in Kyoani shows and other shows, but like there are moments that suck you into an experience, that suck you as an audience member into an experience. Moments like opening a window on a train or a bus and the air whooshing in, or coming up over the ridge of a hill and seeing a landscape in front of you, and selling those moments with music and editing and just like framing and stuff is pivotal. This is a very different kind of moment, because what it does is it doesn't put us into a scene or a feeling, it puts us into a character. Like I experience that of Midori. I'm there and I'm in that seat and I'm tapping my feet. I don't know how it does that to me. Kyoani shit, man. I don't know. It's just so good. Okay, so advice, little things like the simul head tilt, think, are wonderful. This little match cut, bam bam, is wonderful and just like straightforward and clever and really good. This little sequence of the two of them peeking out just as they do in the OP is fantastic. The line from Kana about her staring at has the time come to overthrow our ruler as she holds up a ruler is wonderful. And then the gag when Mochi arrives and they like shuffle and then bonk heads. Bonk. So many like snap, 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 little wonderful things. Another thing that I really love about this episode, it's so understated and obviously in the background, is the background like banner that we see being made, the billboard for the main thing, the one that we see at the very end with the rabbit on it. We see it as like just a piece of plywood with some primer on it, and then we see it later and it's like fully primed and it's got like some like colored circles and shapes on it, and then later we see and it's complete. It little things like that to give like flow to the experience and to the day-to-day and show progression is wonderful. Okay, so we went and at the very beginning of this discussion, which is getting pretty long, we went and looked at episode 3 just to make sure of some things, the framing of this sequence and the fact that it's Shiori and Midori seeing each other with a reversal built in is fantastic. It's all of the framing is built around like echoing episode 3's sequences. This scene, and then this scene, and then the one where she's slapping her cheeks are smack, smack, think of something, think of something. They're identical mannerisms to what Shiori was doing for a different reason. But the reason is very similar. It's that this character has something she desperately wants to express to her friends and can't. And somebody else who is also a member of that group a little bit comes in and sees that. Because of the context of episode 3, it ends up being a paying it forward situation where she's helping out Midori in the same way that Midori helped her out. And it's like, oh, it's perfect. It's fucking perfect. And she figures it out. And of course, Midori gets sneezy and feverish and it starts dying because she's super stressed all the time. And then there's this. This is Midori-chan. Everything's fine. So there are 2 elements to Midori here. Well, there are 3, really. They are, 1, Midori is gung-ho and wants to take on lots of responsibilities. She's a yes person. She wants to do it all. 2, everybody has faith in Midori. Like, a lot of it. 3, everybody has faith in Midori, and she's genuinely competent and generally comes through. That's number 2. Number 3, how do I put this? She's the kind of person who does things all on her own, right? When you combine all of those together, we get a person who her friends have full faith in, who wants to do things on her own and usually comes through, who has taken on too much responsibility. It is the perfect storm for unintentionally getting herself way too deep. Perfect. And it's also the perfect storm for nobody stepping in and realizing what's going on and trying to help her. That's the downside of being competent and being so autonomous and self-dependent, right? Like, nobody's going to reach out to help you because they don't think you need it. They have faith in you. So it's only because of Shiori's presence that everything gets figured out. Now, Kana's realizing that there's maybe something a little bit wrong, but she's doing it in kind of a joking way. That's like, oh, maybe she's failing. We should usurp her. Okay, Shiori arrives. Just gonna choose this scene to talk about it. There are a lot of scenes in this episode, more than usual, I think, of dialogue occurring off camera, and I'm not sure why, but it's kind of cool. It breaks up the flow of everything really interestingly, rather than having just shots of the girls and then a different shot of all the girls or whatever. It's great. So Shiori spills the beans, and I love this moment of absolute shock and despair for Dara, where he realizes that Shiori goes to the bathroom. His maiden, his perfect pretty girl goes to the bathroom. Oh my god. Wonderful. And then there's another layer here, which is that it's not like Midori has given up. It's not like she's just like, well, who cares? It's not like she's that guy in the group project, right? She's trying her ass off. She's gone and found magazines and books about choreography and dance and baton twirling and whatever. All of this while she has a fucking fever, right? And it's not just a fake fever. Like, she's got the tissues and she's got the water and the tea and stuff all there. And we saw her sneezing. It's a real fever, but she's still working her ass off trying to make this work. Best of intentions. Aww, but she can't. Aww. Alright, so she's gone. Can't figure it out. We go and visit. She desperately tries to clean up the evidence of her failings, and yet leaves them there in the trash. And we see, there's a scene where we see Kana looking over. Yeah. Detective Kana. Detective Kana on duty. Perfect. And the Hontoni there. Really, though. Did anything happen? Really, though. No joking time. Are you okay? Huh. And then Kana corners her. Did it have to do with what you were saying in the bathroom? What? I don't know what you're, that wasn't, that was just, and she tries to hide it again. That was just, but Kana corners her. And she reacts violently. She is so desperate to keep the evidence of her failure from her friends. Until she realizes that's not gonna fly. I'm sorry. The most important thing is to apologize. I couldn't think of any. I'm just a big doofus. I don't know what's going on. I took too much shit on my plate, and I don't know how to deal with this. And then the tears flow. Because the truth is, it was my responsibility, but I failed. I failed you. And then immediately everybody is shocked and freaked out. They're like, oh, whoa, we had no idea. You're good at hiding this stuff. Holy crap. And immediately everybody goes into wholesomeness overdrive. Gotta take care of the sobbing wreck that is the smiling Midori, as she's trying to keep her smile on, but she's also like hicking it a little bit. It's so good. So much character in it. There's nothing bad about it. I can't let myself look bad. What are you talking about? We're friends. That's literally what we're here for. It's all good. It's all good, yo. It's wonderful. Okay. Then we got to talk about this moment. So we've just cried it out a bit, right? We're holding on pretty well. Drivel. Dance is easy. Now I shall dance in praise to that which is me. We've seen Dara dance before, right? And it wasn't this goofy. I'd like to lay out a bet. How much do you want to bet that Dara is playing the clown in this scene? Intentionally. Because we've had some hints in the last couple of episodes that Dara is not quite the doofus that he seems to be. I think that Dara is intentionally breaking the tension with humor. There's no way to prove it, one way or the other, but it works. I think that there is intent from the writers that Dara is intentionally breaking the sequence with humor. I just get that vibe. Kana's dead eyes are wonderful, but everybody laughs at it, including Midori. And her tears become happy tears. We should all do it together. Also, just the POW thing is constantly wonderful. It's constantly so good. And then practice, and then montage. We montage through it, and then their outfits are the fucking cutest. They're so cute. They're so goddamn cute. They remind me a little bit of the Hibike marching uniforms, just because of the white and blue and the gold, but that's really all that there is to it. I will say, I mean, I really like the Hibike marching uniforms. I think they are spicy as hell. They're stupid cute, and the skirts are amazing, and the double-breasted, jacket top sort of situation that's going on in the Hibike uniforms is wonderful. But there is something about the tasseled, epaulette pauldron things that they have on their shoulders without sleeves that just does something to me. I don't know. I think it's the cutest thing. Their uniforms are amazing. And then the spot is a spot. And then we get a couple of frames of them doing the recital thing, and they're really good when they're there. The animation's really solid. There's just not that much of it, which is unfortunate. But what is there is pretty fucking wonderful looking and really smooth and beautiful, and just kind of nails it. And it's nice and goofy too, and good all around. And then Choi with the bomb drop about being the prince's bride. And she adds the sama. Hey? I love the timing on this. Perfect. Okay. Did I miss anything that I wrote down? 10 minutes of choreography. The banner. the big fuck moment, the startup work thing, value and simplicity, the bump of heads when they get caught, the match cut between Midori and Tamako, the sign in the background, dialogue off camera. I didn't talk about the photos. It was pretty obvious when we saw the photo album that Mochi was only taking pictures of Tamako. Just, you know, a pretty obvious thing, but it's great. Got pretty much everything except the scene at about 5 minutes when it's just the characters moving around and talking about stuff, and all we get are their legs. Damn right. They're all fucking characters on screen. Like, it's just legs, but it's all characters. That's so good. Okay. This is a really good episode. Oh, this is one of those 10 out of 10 KyoAni episodes. I think it is. 10 out of 10 for episode 10 of Tamako Market. There are a few, like there are a couple episodes in Hyoka that there are a couple episodes in Hyoka that I think are in that realm. Even if the whole show I don't think is. There are multiple episodes of Hibike that are definitely in that realm. Liz is in that realm. There are multiple episodes of K-On! That are in that realm of these are the top tier of KyoAni episodes possible. I'm adding this one to the list, which is like literally the highest praise that I could possibly give. Cool. I like this episode a lot. I hope you've liked it too. I'm gonna wrap me Teeaboo this Tamako Mercado episode 10. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and I really hope to catch you next time. See you there. Peace.